Reproduction in animals. Let's revise and recall. Organisms need food, water, and oxygen for survival. All living beings grow and reproduce. Plants reproduce from vegetative parts like roots, stems, and leaves. There are two ways in which plants reproduce: sexual and asexual reproduction. We have already read about the processes of digestion, circulation, and respiration in the previous classes. All these processes are essential for the survival of every individual. If one of them were to stop working, the concerned organism would die. We have also learnt about the process of reproduction in plants. Reproduction is essential for the continuation of a species. If organisms had not reproduced, life on the earth would have died out. Hence, reproduction is very important, as it ensures the continuation of similar kinds of individuals, generation after generation. Pictures of some organisms are given alongside. These are the pictures of the young ones of some animals. Can you identify the animals whose young ones are shown below? Can you tell why these young ones look similar to their parents and how are these produced? Come, let us try to find answer to these questions and more. Reproduction, the process by which an individual is able to produce more of its kind, is known as reproduction. It is essential for the continuance of a species. This way, new individuals of a species are produced. These individuals grow and reproduce again, and the population of the species increases. We already know that the species is a group of similar-looking organisms who can interbreed to produce other fertile offspring. The special characteristics of an organism are carried over from the parents to the offspring. Just as in plants, there are two modes by which animals reproduce. These are asexual reproduction, asexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction. Most plants and animals reproduce by sexual reproduction. In this method, two parents, one male and one female, and both having different reproductive organs are needed. These reproductive parts in both the parents produce one gamete each. The male parent produces the sperm, while the female parent produces the egg or ovum. The sperm and the egg fuse to form a third cell called the zygote. This process of the fusion of the sperm and the egg is called fertilization. It is the zygote which over a period of time develops into a new individual. This type of reproduction, beginning from the fusion of male and female gametes, is called sexual reproduction. In animals such as fishes, frogs, reptiles, birds, and humans, an individual carries only one kind of gametes, either the sperm or the egg. But in some animals, both male and female gametes are present in the same individual. These are called hermaphrodites, and the examples are leeches and earthworms. Flowers of most plants are hermaphrodites, as the pistil, which produces the egg cell, and the stamen, which produces the male gamete, are present in the same flower. Asexual reproduction. In this method of reproduction, only one parent is involved. No fusion of gametes takes place. The body of the organism divides to produce new organisms. For example, binary fission in amoeba and budding in hydra. Fertilization. The first step in the process of reproduction is the fusion of a sperm and an ovum. When sperms come in contact with an egg, one of the sperms may fuse with the egg. Such fusion of the egg and the sperm is called fertilization. During fertilization, the nuclei of the sperm and the egg fuse to form a single nucleus. This results in the formation of a fertilized egg or zygote. The process of fertilization is the meeting of an egg cell from the mother and a sperm cell from the father. So the new individual inherits some characteristics from the mother and some from the father. There are various methods of fertilization in the world of living. External fertilization. In many animals, fertilization takes place outside the body of the female. This type of fertilization is called external fertilization. It is very common in aquatic animals such as fish, starfish, jellyfish, etc. In these animals, fertilization takes place in water. Fish or starfish gather in huge groups or shoals and lay their eggs and sperms together on the surface or face the water. Here the sperms and the eggs fuse to form zygotes which further develop into new individuals. Animals living in or close to ponds or lakes too have external fertilization. During spring or rainy season, frogs and toads move to ponds and slow-moving streams. When the male and female come together in water, the female lays hundreds of eggs. These eggs do not have a shell like a hen's egg, and it is very delicate. A layer of jelly holds the eggs together and provides protection to them. As the eggs are laid, the male deposits sperms over them. Each sperm swims randomly in water with the help of its long tail. The sperms come in contact with the eggs. This results in fertilization. Internal fertilization. Fertilization, which takes place inside the female body, is called internal fertilization. Internal fertilization occurs in many animals, including humans, cows, dogs, and hens. Internal fertilization takes place in earthworms as well, but as it is a hermaphrodite, an earthworm does not fertilize itself. Two earthworms come together and exchange sperms. This leads to the fertilization of the eggs. Do you know, though these animals lay hundreds of eggs and release millions of sperms, all the eggs do not get fertilized and develop into new individuals because these are exposed to water movement, wind, and rainfall. Also, they are fed upon by other animals in the pond. Thus, a large number of eggs and sperms are produced to ensure fertilization of at least some of them. Reproduction in humans. Human reproduction requires two sexes, the male and the female. Both the sexes have different reproductive systems. The fertilization takes place internally and the zygote develops into a fully formed individual inside the body of the female only. Puberty. The onset of sexual maturity in humans is called puberty. It occurs in girls at the age of 10-15 years and in boys 11-16 years. During puberty, certain changes brought on by different hormones take place in the bodies of both the girls and the boys. These changes are bigger breasts and more rounded hips in girls, while in boys these changes are a deeper voice, growth of facial hair, development of muscles, and production of sperms by the testes. Male reproductive organs. The male reproductive organs include a pair of testes, singular testes, two sperm ducts, and a penis. The testes are located outside the abdominal cavity in a sac known as scrotal sac. Millions of sperms are produced by the testes. Each sperm is a single cell with all the usual cell components. Those sperms are very small in size, each has a head, a middle piece, and a tail. The sperms pass out of each testes through a sperm duct or vas deferens. While the sperms are passing through the sperm ducts, secretions from 3 glands are poured into the ducts. This mixture of sperms and fluids is called semen. While swimming in the semen, the sperms reach the urethra lying inside the penis. The sperms are transferred into the vagina of the female's body through the penis only. Female reproductive organs. The female reproductive organs are a pair of ovaries, oviducts, fallopian tubes, and the uterus, located in the lower part of the abdomen. The ovaries produce the female gametes called eggs or ovum. Singular ovum, just like the sperm, as egg is also a single cell. In human beings, a single matured egg is released into the oviduct by one of the ovaries every month. The development of the baby takes place in the uterus. Fertilization. The ovum and the sperms meet in the oviduct. When sperms come in contact with an egg, one of the sperms may fuse with the egg. Such a fusion of the egg and the sperm is called fertilization. During fertilization, the nuclei of the sperm and the egg fuse to form a single nucleus. This results in the formation of a fertilized egg or zygote, thus marking the beginning of a new individual. If the ovum is not fertilized by the sperm, it is expelled from the uterus along with some uterine muscles and blood. This is known as menstruation. Different mammals produce different number of eggs at a time. While humans, cows and elephants produce one egg at a time, cats, dogs and rabbits produce more than one egg. This is the reason why more number of babies is born to them at the same time. As the zygote is formed from the fusion of sperm from the father and the egg from the mother, it gets chromosomes and the genes from both the parents. This results in the new individual inheriting characteristics from both the father and the mother. Do you know some women cannot conceive babies as their oviducts, fallopian tubes are blocked and hence the sperms cannot reach the egg for fertilization? In such cases, doctors collect freshly released egg and sperms and keep them together for a few hours in an incubator in vitro. Here the sperms fertilize the ova to form an embryo. After a week, the embryo is placed in the mother's uterus. Complete development takes place in the uterus and the baby is born like any other baby. Babies born through this technique are called test tube babies. This technique is called in vitro fertilization or IVF, fertilization outside the body, and was successfully tested in humans in 1978. Development of embryo fertilization results in the formation of zygote, which begins to develop into an embryo. The zygote divides repeatedly to give rise to a ball of cells. This process is called cell division. The cells then begin to form groups that develop into different tissues and organs of the body. This developing structure is termed an embryo, which gets embedded in the wall of the uterus for further development. The embryo continues to develop in the uterus. Now the different groups of cells change their shapes and sizes, gradually developing into particular types of cells which perform specific functions such as blood cells, nerve cells, muscle cells, etc. This process is called cell differentiation or cell maturation. These differentiated cells develop into different tissues, organs and body parts such as hands, legs, head, eyes, ears, etc. The stage of the embryo in which all the body parts can be easily identified is called a fetus. In humans, this stage is reached after nearly 8 weeks of fertilization. The baby develops inside the mother's uterus womb for about 40 weeks. This period is called gestation period. When the fetus is fully developed, the mother gives birth to the baby. The birth of body is called parturition. Viviparous and oviparous animals. In animals with internal fertilization, the fertilized egg develops into a new organism in different ways. Some animals give birth to young ones, while some animals lay eggs which later develop into young ones. The animals which give birth to young ones are called viviparous animals. Most mammals, including humans, cows, tigers, dogs, goats, etc., give birth to fully formed young ones. Those animals which lay eggs are called oviparous animals. The young ones are not produced directly but take birth from the eggs. Some such animals are hen, butterfly, lizard and snake. In a hen, fertilization takes place internally. After fertilization, the zygote undergoes rapid division and moves down the oviduct just as in humans. During this period, many protective layers are formed around the developing embryo as a hard shell. After the hard shell is formed, the hen lays the egg and sits on it to provide warmth for the developing embryo. This is known as incubation. After 3 weeks of incubation, the chick breaks the shell of the egg and hatches out young ones to adults. The new individuals which are born or hatched from the eggs continue to grow till they become adults.
In human beings, body parts similar to those present in the adults are present from the time of the birth. But this is not the case with all the animals. Some such animals are a frog, mosquito, butterfly, mouse, etc. In such animals, the young ones may look very different from the adults. There are different stages of development between the hatching of the eggs and the formation of the individual. The frog passes through 3 different and distinct stages of development, beginning from the hatching of the egg and ending at the adult stage. We find that there are 3 distinct stages. The tadpole which hatches out of the egg looks very different from an adult frog. It undergoes changes to finally become a frog, capable of jumping and swimming. In a mosquito, a worm-like larva comes out of each egg after hatching. It takes 2 weeks to change into an encased form which is shaped like a comma. It is called a pupa. Here the pupa changes into a mosquito which wriggles out of the case in about a week's time. Butterflies and moths also pass through the larva and pupa stages before emerging as a winged and beautiful adult. The stages are as follows: egg, caterpillar, pupa, adult. This transformation of the larva into an adult through drastic changes is called metamorphosis. Asexual reproduction. In asexual reproduction, only one parent is involved in the production of new individuals. It does not require organisms such as amoeba, hydra, bacteria, and fungi exhibit asexual reproduction. There are many forms of asexual reproduction. Some of these forms are as follows. Binary fission. The type of asexual reproduction in which an animal reproduces by dividing into 2 individuals is called binary fission. Amoeba is a simple single-celled organism which reproduces by this method. The process of reproduction begins with the duplication and division of its nucleus into 2 nuclei. This is followed by the division of the cytoplasm and its body into 2, each part receiving a nucleus. Finally, 2 identical amoeba are produced from one parent amoeba. Budding. Budding is an asexual mode of reproduction in which a new organism grows in the form of a bulb-like projection on the parent organism. It grows and then eventually separates from the parent organism. This type of asexual reproduction is exhibited by hydra. On an individual hydra, there may be 1 or more bulges. These bulges are the developing new individuals and are called buds. These buds develop as outgrowths from a single parent. Cloning. The process of creating an exact copy of a biological entity is called cloning. A clone is created by inserting the complete genetic material of a regular body cell from a donor into a recipient. The first cloned mammal which was genetically identical to its parent was Dolly, which was created in 1996. But cloning has its drawbacks as it is not natural. It may lead to many abnormalities which could adversely affect the mental development of the clone. But cloning has its flag bearers as well. Its advocates believe that human therapeutic cloning could help in regenerative medicine and producing organs for transplantation. Do you know a scientist named Ian Wilmot and his colleagues at the Roslin Institute in Edinburgh, Scotland, successfully created the first cloned mammal, a sheep named Dolly, which was born on the 5th of July 1996. During the process, a cell was collected from the mammary gland of a female finned Dorset sheep. At the same time, an egg was taken from a Scottish blackface ewe and its nucleus was removed. Then the nucleus of the mammary gland cell from the finned Dorset sheep was inserted into the egg of the Scottish blackface ewe, whose nucleus had been removed. The egg so produced was implanted into the Scottish blackface ewe. This egg developed normally and led to the birth of Dolly. Though Dolly was produced by Scottish blackface ewe, it was absolutely identical to the finned Dorset sheep from which the nucleus was taken. As the nucleus from the egg of the Scottish blackface ewe was removed, Dolly did not exhibit any character of the Scottish blackface ewe. Dolly was a healthy clone of the finned Dorset sheep and produced several offspring of her own through normal sexual means. Dolly died on the 14th of February 2003 due to a lung disease. She also suffered from arthritis. Keywords: hermaphrodite, an organism that produces both male and female gametes. Reproduction, the process by which an organism produces more of its own kind. Asexual reproduction, the kind of reproduction where only one parent is involved. Binary fission, asexual mode of reproduction where an organism splits into two. Budding, asexual mode of reproduction where a daughter cell grows on an organism and then separates. Synopsis: there are two modes by which animals reproduce. These are asexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. Reproduction resulting from the fusion of male and female gametes is called sexual reproduction. The reproductive organs in the female include ovaries, oviducts, and uterus. The reproductive organs in male include testes, sperm ducts, and penis. The ovary produces female gametes called ova, and the testes produce male gametes called sperms. The fusion of ovum and sperm is called fertilization. The fertilized egg is called a zygote. Fertilization that takes place inside the female body is called internal fertilization. This is observed in human beings and other animals such as cows, dogs, and hens. Fertilization that takes place outside the female body is called external fertilization. This is observed in frogs, fish, starfish, etc. The zygote divides repeatedly to give rise to an embryo. The embryo gets embedded in the wall of the uterus for further development. The stage of the embryo in which all the body parts are identifiable is called fetus. Animals such as hen, frog, lizard, and butterfly which lay eggs are called oviparous animals. The transformation of the larva into adult through drastic changes is called metamorphosis. The type of reproduction in which only a single parent is involved is called asexual reproduction. Amoeba reproduces by dividing itself into two. This type of asexual reproduction is called binary fission. In Hydra, new individuals develop from buds. This method of asexual reproduction is called bud